Hello, KMMA Tribe. I want to I want to start today by saying how grateful I am for you. How grateful I am to be alive this day, to have an opportunity to make a difference in my life, and as importantly, to have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others, including yourself. And I know that the experience I'm about to relate is not unique to me, but I'm going to share something that was a reminder for me today, a small story, and then I'm going to share three lessons about life and death, lessons from life and death, um, that came to me as I meditated upon the brevity of life this morning. And so the story is simply this: that an old friend of mine had contacted me and said he was in town, but only for a day, and it turned out it was for a funeral. And the funeral was for somebody that I knew years ago. I would call her a friend, in that I think she was a beautiful person. But I can't call her a friend because, in truth, I had not communicated with her probably in over a decade, which is probably even relevant somewhat to this message as well. But this beautiful woman in her 30s who had two loving kids and a great business and a great life, got in a car accident in the last day or two, recently. I just found out about it this morning, but recently got in a car accident that took her life. When you told me, I went to the Facebook feed and I looked at this beautiful life she was living, and then all of a sudden somebody making the post that friends and family, this person is no longer with us. So I started thinking about the lessons of life and death, specifically what death teaches us. And I have three lessons that resonated with me as I meditated upon it this morning, and hopefully they'll have some meaning with you too. The first was that there are no guarantees. Like, none of us knows how long we will live. And this is true of every person, right? Like, you know, it's generally accepted that the older we get, the more we accept the fact that we're going to die. But the reality of the situation is that it could be the youngest person too. None of us is guaranteed a day. And listen, if you're a student of life, uh, particularly a student of the Bible, yet this is nothing new to you, but perhaps a good reminder that as we are going about the day to day of our lives, as we're going, whether it's the grind or whether it's chasing our goals and dreams, that we must also remember that we cannot control how many days we have left on this earth. It is one of the great unknowns. And in fact, it is the only guarantee is that we are going to die. So the second lesson that I think is closely related to the first. Oh, wait, let me say a little more on the first, because I wanted to mention this. I do not mean that in a nihilistic or even existential way. This is not a way where we would then make the logical conclusion that why even try? We're going to die anyway. I believe the opposite is true. I believe that because I don't know how long I have to make my most major impact upon my world and around the people around me and for my family with whatever time I have. So rather than being, not a nihilistic way like why even try, on the opposite, a positive, energized way of I got to try harder to do it faster because who knows how much time I have. Not in an existential way like what is the meaning of life? No, in a way of let's add meaning to life. Let's make the most of every day because we don't know which one will be our last. Which leads to the second, to not take anything nor anyone for granted. Because on a related note, can you imagine if you'd known this young lady and the last interaction you had with her was a bad one? So I think that it's a great reminder to love everyone where they're at, to forgive everyone quickly, to not hold grudges, to try our best not even to fight. And when we do, to definitely not say hurtful words because that person might be gone tomorrow. So I think it's very, very important that we remember that in every interaction. And by the way, if you have somebody that right now there's bad blood with, man, I'd feel like I made a difference if this inspired you to go do something about that. And the third lesson is something that I always talk about, but I don't think I've ever talked about it as pertains to life and death. It's the circle of concern and the circle of control. Remember, being the circle of concern is everything I care about, circle of control is everything I can do about it, and I should invest my time and energy where the two intersect. I think this is especially relevant to the lessons of life and death. Because while I cannot control, well, let me correct myself on that. I can control certain things, right? Like I know that because I choose not to smoke and in recent history I've even chosen not to drink and I'm eating healthier and I'm doing more exercise and I'm making lots of positive changes in my life, that God willing and nothing bad happens, there's a higher percentage that I can live longer than if I was having bad habits that were hurting myself. But I still cannot control. I mean, you can go get in a car accident or some other tragedy and be gone tomorrow. So what we need to focus on, as always, are the things that we can control, like personal inputs to our health and longevity, like the quality of our relationships, like the quality of our work, like our attitude and our focus, like what we are going to do with whatever time we have left, like what kind of impact we choose to make on our world, or at least on the people closest to us. These are things that are in our control. Prepare to live in power to lead. However many days we have left together, let's make them good ones.